Jurassic World Evolution 2 has 122 species when you include all DLC creatures. Which do I think is the worst and which do I think is the best? I'm going to go through the entire list telling you why I ranked them the way I did. But as a sandbox park builder, I can already tell you that my ranking is not based on a species in-game rating or how strategic they are to use in your challenge mode parks. It's about how much I like the species, the design, its animations, which give it personality to me, and of course the skins. Which is why I will be showing you my favorite skin combination for each animal. I've done a full ranking a year and a half ago when the game had 102 species, but time and 20 new species have completely shaken up the ranking. We have a new dinosaur in last place, a new dinosaur in first place, and one species went from the top 10 last time to number 80 this time. Ranking last, 122nd out of 122 is the Stegoceratops. This is just a comical hybrid to me. The physical traits of two species just slapped together in a very literal sense, with the result being something that looks like a toy I would have loved to have as a kid, but not something I want now in my parks. Throughout this ranking, I will be mentioning it if a species is a new addition since my previous ranking, or if it has risen or dropped in the ranking in a significant way, and saved from the indignity of last place is the Scorpius Rex. I'm still not a fan of this hybrid's monstrous design, and I only ever use it in hybrid research facilities, which I admittedly do like building. But I don't think this kind of animal makes sense in a commercial park for tourists, so I just don't end up using it. I don't like the shape of the crest and the beak, but most importantly, we have way better flying reptiles, and since I only build a couple of aviaries per park, this species just always misses out, to the point where I literally forget sometimes that it's even in the game. Maiasaura is a pretty significant dinosaur species scientifically speaking, but that doesn't mean I enjoy this Neanderthal-looking dinosaur in my parks. I will say, it doesn't have awful skins. I quite like this one. Ichthyosaurus was my least favorite marine species in my previous ranking, but that one has actually gotten bumped up quite a bit. And this time around, it is the Elasmosaurus that earns the questionable honor of being my least favorite marine species. It's physically quite similar to species like Syxosaurus, Plesiosaurus, Attenborosaurus, all three of which I think are much better because they don't have this odd face situation going on. Corythosaurus used to be my second least favorite, so she's moved up in ranking, but my two, let's call them issues with this species remain. First of all, we have quite a few Hadrosaurs in the game. Some I rank really high, so Corythosaurus is like the guy that just gets picked last for the team. And if we look at beauty as a skin-deep thing, Corytho just doesn't have a lot going for it. Honestly, even this skin, I can't find a skin that I actually like, so I just went with this blue one. Most skins are aggressively hideous in my opinion. Really, you can copy-paste what I said about Corythosaurus into this section about Syntausaurus, but Syntau does everything a little better than Corythosaurus in my opinion, including that it does actually have some decent skins like this one. This is the most dangerous dinosaur in the game because it can easily bore me to death. Sauropods suffer in this game from incredibly dull skins, but none more so than Apatosaurus. I really hope that in Jurassic World Evolution 3, or whatever it's gonna be called, Frontier will design better skins for the sauropods, the way they did for the 2001 Brachy variant, which will not surprise you, I ranked very high. Dracorex. I mean, it's fine, just not much of a standout. I don't have anything necessarily bad to say about it, but also nothing good. I hate the sound effects for this dinosaur. I really cannot stand it. And yes, that does weigh into my decision heavily, but this gurgling, burping sound, whenever I do add Sauropelta to my parks and I'm just doing my thing, placing my planters, and I hear this thing in the background, it's like hearing someone fart in a restaurant. It kind of just ruins the mood. He looks so mad. Look at that face. He does not want to be here or anywhere, and definitely not in my parks, and I have to respect that. It's just another species that I rank low because I don't use it much. Hashtag not my Lipleurodon, but as a weird neck-bearded crocodilian, it's kinda cool. Also, it has one of the funniest socials for the marine species, so I have to give credit where credit is due. And the introduction of kelp really does help this species because I think it looks a lot better in a kelp forest lagoon than in a wide open lagoon. Still though, I almost never use it, and that's a big factor in ranking many of these species at the bottom. Honestly, this entire middle section was really hard to figure out, and the main reason why it took me longer than I thought to figure out this ranking. It's easy to pick your most and least favorites, but everything in between... Oh, I struggled so much. I definitely took this way too seriously also. But anyway, Huayangosaurus. It's one of those underwhelming in-between dinosaurs. Can you tell I like green skins? Is that already apparent? I also like having sauropods in a variety of sizes, but there's another small sauropod in the game that I find much more interesting than Nigersaurus. It does have good skins, like look at this. I think that looks pretty awesome. Do this more for the bigger sauropods as well, Frontier. Very good. No, but like really, can you tell I like green skins? Also look at this like almost neon green yellow on the frill. Super cool. And Pentaceratops is a cool ceratopsian, but also a weird ceratopsian. Of this group of dinosaurs, it does end up being my least favorite, which is a title previously awarded to Chasmosaurus, which just goes to show how my opinions fluctuate over time. Pentaceratops and Chasmosaurus are a cute fake adult and juvenile pairing though, just sneaking that in here. Nodosaurus, also kinda cute, but also dare I say, kinda boring, with skins that I can only assume were designed by a blind person. Now this one worked out quite well, but most of them not so much. You know, it's kinda cute, and at least it has something going on with the skins, and it gives variety to the sauropods. And yes, I did almost pick another green skin, but I went with the one that I feel pairs best with the Lux pattern that we have. Speaking of skins, it's the amazing colors and patterns that get the Spinoceratops this high. Like I can't even decide, so I'll just pick a green one again. It is a bit of a silly hybrid, much like the Stegoceratops and Ankyloticus, but they slapped some good skins on it. I think it has a cute face. It has a cute fish-eating animation, which makes it unique. I'm not mad at it. Similarly, Geosternbergia also has good skins, but I don't like the crest and the upturned beak. And I'm obviously not judging based on scientific accuracy here, in case that wasn't clear yet. Just what I do or do not find visually pleasing. Again, we're in this huge midsection in the ranking where I don't think these species are bad, they're just not my favorites. As a Walking with Dinosaurs fan, it does pain me to have Coelophysis miss out on the top 100, especially because as a Triassic dinosaur, it is so rare in this game. But that uniqueness is not enough to make up for kind of lackluster skins, and we have several of these slender, small carnivores, and the others I simply like better. By the way, super excited about the new Walking with Dinosaurs coming out next year. 2025 is gonna be a great year for us dinosaur fans. Well, it's gonna have a lot of content for us dinosaur fans. Let's hope it's gonna be good as well. I know I'm in the minority, but I really don't dislike the Deinonychus as long as I don't think of it as a Deinonychus. I think this is a funny looking species. I appreciate and understand why they did something different with it. And again, I'm not mad at it. I find the tadpole boy incredibly amusing. Indoraptor is actually really cool. I hope I don't forget to bleep that out. But it's a really cool design for an alien or something. It's great as a movie monster, but just like Scorpius Rex, I don't think it belongs in a theme park. I end up using it really not all that often. So purely on the technicality that Archaeornithomimus does fit in a theme park, it ranks higher than the Indoraptor, which is probably gonna earn me some comments down below. Honestly, about Archaeornithomimus, what can I say other than I like Struthiomimus and Gallimimus more. But it's colorful, which you know I like, and it's the equivalent of jiggling your car keys, but I'm easily entertained, so it starts the top 100. Ooh, how surprising! Another green skin! Sierradactylus was 63rd of 102 last time, so it's a pretty significant drop. Really what I've realized over the past year and a half is that even though I really like the species, as goes for everything in this midsection, it's not very special in-game, and I ended up not using it all that often, which clues me in that, you know, it should go a little lower this time around. Tylosaurus has fallen a long way in the ranking. It used to be 53 out of 102, so about the middle of the pack, and now it's 99 out of 122. Since my last ranking, the Prehistoric Marine Species pack came out, which introduced 3 species that I rank really, really high. And then a few months ago, we got the Megalodon, which, depending on how well you've been paying attention, may or may not shock you with how high I've ranked the big shark. But all those great additions mean that Tylosaurus, which was already kinda loses most of the magic it had left. The fact that it doesn't have a shark feeding animation really hurts it because it lacks the wow factor that a lot of other marine species, especially marine species of this size and physiology, do have. But even though Tylosaurus fell far, Troodon is one of the biggest droppers in this new ranking. I previously ranked it 24 out of 102, and now it's 98 out of 122. I still like this species, and it has great skins, especially for a venomous species. It really looks the part, but I can't rate it anywhere near as high as I did before. I don't know how people are gonna feel about that, about how much some of my rankings have changed. But my opinions fluctuate a lot about stuff like this over such a long period of time, especially again when you're considering that we're in this midsection of dinosaurs where it's just really hard to figure out which one I like just a little bit more than the other ones. But I can only personally compare it to certain songs that you fall in and out of love with over time, or, you know, certain people. Oh, I'm gonna upset some people with this one, but this game has so many awesome big theropods that the Indominus is kind of an afterthought to me. I don't dislike it, but I'm not a huge fan either. I cannot stress enough that I like these species, but in a game that has a total of 122, some are gonna end up in the 90s, even though they are cool. Just not as cool, in my opinion, as the others. Albertosaurus is a great species. It's a little plasticky in the skins, but the designs of the skins are good. But Jurassic World Evolution 2 has so many carnivores in this range, and this just ended up being my least favorite of like the not officially medium carnivores. Carcharodontosaurus used to be my lowest ranking big carnivore, and I guess of the huge carnivores it still is, with the exception of the Indominus Rex, but you know, let's file that under hybrids. But I've decided to rank it higher this time, just a little bit, purely because, I don't know, the skin is good. Actually, several of the skins are good, and I'm a little bit endeared to the unicorn theropod, you know, the little horn over there. Dimorphodon ranks ever so slightly higher on the basis that it has a tail. Yes, it's that simple. No, that's not really the whole story. I also like that we have this tiny Dominion variant, which now comes with its own skin colors as well, which, by the way, look at that. Beautiful. Love that color combo. And with the variant that I like, It just makes the species a lot more versatile. It's basically 2 for the price of 1, and what I like is pretending that the main variant is a baby to the bigger variant. So it allows for some realism, schmealism in the park and some storytelling that just makes the species more endearing to me. And oh my god, like, that is so pretty. Pachycephalosaurus would rank quite a bit higher if it had more good skins. You know me, green is always going to be pretty decent for me. As it stands, most of the skin combinations look more like skin conditions than skin patterns. It is a pretty classic species though, it's nice to mix into a herd, so here we have it at 92. Nothosaurus is one of the new additions to the game after my previous ranking, so it wasn't included at that time. What I like about it is that it uses the rock platform, so it's pretty different as far as lagoon occupants go, although of course we know another species uses the platform as well, and I rank that one much higher. It has good skins, it has pretty good animations that give it some personality. But same as what I said for Tylosaurus, we have several marine species now that I rank really high, like shockingly high, you'll see. And given the fact that you're only going to add a few lagoons to any given park, these personal favorites are always going to be my go-tos, and as a result I don't get a lot of use out of the others, like Nothosaurus. Snake boy! He cute, he very cute, but I will admit I don't like it more than Admirasaurus or Styxosaurus. I've given it a blank pattern because the patterns are basically useless. And again, the lagoon problem of having more awesome lagoon species than I would have lagoons in any given park, so it just misses the boat. Ouranosaurus has 2 vastly different looking variants, so it's 2 for the price of 1. I really like that the Camp Cretaceous variant does come with its own custom skins, although the skins are very unimpressive. I mean, the patterns are just insulting, but I do like what's going on here. This is a very detailed skin, and I like this model. And again, I like that we have the option of the Jurassic World Evolution model as well and make those combinations. I can't decide which one is better. I like them both equally. These are so good, man. Anyway, Majungasaurus is another species I don't use often because I think we have better, but it's a pretty good dinosaur. Again, I can't decide between those 2 skins. I think they're both awesome. They're some of my favorite skins across all species. The face is a little dopey looking, so maybe not as intimidating and majestic as my higher ranking picks, but I do like it in a way. Again, for none of these species, I hate them. That's not what's going on. It's just I'm trying to figure out which one I like a little bit better. Ichthyosaurus is one of the biggest climbers in the rankings. Most significant ranking changes have been for the worse because so many cool new species have been introduced over the year and a half since my previous ranking, but Ichthyosaurus went from, hear this, 97th out of 102 to 87th out of 122. I ranked it as low as I did last time because lagoons are huge and Ichthy is relatively small, so it does get lost in the vast volume like this. But I built them a little kelp lagoon for my all lagoon species park, and looking at them swimming around was so mesmerizing and relaxing, and I was like, I enjoy this. I'm gonna rank you higher this time around, buddy. So here we are. I ranked Lysosaurus a lot higher last time when it was a pretty new addition to the game. I did that ranking about a month after the Malta expansion was added to the game, and that newness probably came into play in ranking it at the time 41st out of 102. Now that I've had it over a year and a half, I don't really gravitate towards it, although I think it's a really interesting and unique species to have in the game. Ankylosaurus has such bad skins. Frontier doesn't seem to know what to do with sauropods, ankylosaurids, and nodosaurids, generally speaking. I like this species. I think Ankylosaurus is such an awesome species, but she's done a disservice by her skins, leaving the bumpy skin as really the only one that I actually like. Alright, Chasmosaurus. I've had a bit of a change of heart about the Chasmosaurus. I still overlook it most of the time, admittedly, but as I was doing this ranking it as low as I did last time didn't make sense to me. I think it's one of those species that I probably do like in a vacuum more than I do in my parks, but this is where I landed. And trust me, I did do my due diligence for this ranking. I went back and forth so many times, even started over twice. But this is what it is, at least for now. Another dinosaur that is super significant from a scientific standpoint, so it feels almost disrespectful to not rank it higher, but it doesn't feel too unique from species like Allosaurus and Changiosaurus in-game. Very important, I'm talking in-game as big, spiky theropods. You know, it's not that unique, and both of those, the Allosaurus and Changiosaurus, I like better than Megalosaurus. I don't think this will offend many people because it feels a little rude to bring this up for the poor Megalosaurus, but every time we've done a poll on the live streams letting people choose the big theropod that gets added to the park, and I've included Megalosaurus as a choice, it has always, look away, Megalosaurus, it has always lost it has never won a single poll. Okay, you didn't hear that, buddy. You're good, you're fine. Pretty cool. I don't know what else to say other than way better than Huayangosaurus. Fight me. A controversial choice, I'm sure, but I don't like this design for the baryonyx. If they had stuck to the Jurassic World website design, I would have ranked it much higher. But for this one, Dr. Wu just was a little too heavy-handed on the crocodilian DNA. It's really just a croc that walks on 2 extra long hind legs. And while a point can be made that that's kind of badass, because crocodiles are kind of badass, I'm just not a big fan. Pyroraptor finds itself in the company of Troodon, as those two species are the biggest droppers in my ranking. And this one is quite shocking because Pyroraptor was a top 10 species last time, number 9 to be specific, and now it's number 80. Of course, that has something to do with the addition of another feathered dromaeosaurid, which basically rendered Butterface Pyroraptor superfluous to me. But thanks to Pyroraptor's incredible skins, it does still rank fairly well, all things considered. And I really had an impossible task of choosing my favorite because it has so many, like, I just went with this one to mix it up a little bit, because I don't think I've done a yellow skin yet, but it has so many good skins. And now I've gone ahead and picked another yellow one. I do think that fans of challenge mode appreciate this dinosaur much more for its strategic significance in gameplay. I think especially in the first iteration of the game, this dinosaur was the key to beating challenge mode. For me, as a sandbox park builder, it's just a pretty dinosaur. It's a versatile dinosaur that you can add into any mixed herd, and obviously it's very comparable to Archaeopteryx and Gallimimus, and in my opinion it sits in between those two. I had Torosaurus quite a bit lower last time, and funnily enough my appreciation for the species was peaked, it increased, when one of the channel members picked Torosaurus as their dinosaur in the members only park build, where every member is represented by a dinosaur of their choice. And I looked at that Toro with the skin combo that the channel member picked, and I was like, I'm gonna bump you up a little bit. Now, I don't think it was this exact skin. It was this pattern with the orange and one of the green shades. I personally settled on this one, but yeah, I saw the Torosaurus walk into that park, climb a hill, and I was like, I like you. I did you a little bit dirty last time around. It is my biased love for Triceratops that does still keep the Torosaurus from rising too much in the ranking because of their similarities. For Sauropod, Camarasaurus actually has pretty decent skins. Not great, but pretty decent. And I do like that it's slightly smaller than the big ones. But that face, man, that face just reminds me of a strict, disappointed grandmother. And it does not give me happy feelings looking at that face. I don't even want to know what that mouth do. That mouth is freaky. but I like it. Skins are pretty decent. If you've seen like my past ranking recently, you might notice that even my favorite skins are different, and I openly admit that my opinions are very fluid in that sense. I'm just picking what I like best at the moment, and I don't even know what that's influenced by. It's just, I don't know. Stegosaurus is a new species not included in my previous ranking, and even though it is my least favorite species in the DLC that it came in, it's still a pretty good addition to the roster and to a park. Like, it's small, but it's not minuscule as like a Compsognathus. And look at this skin, I think it's absolutely brilliant. Super cute little dinosaur, just a shame someone at Frontier hates ankylosaurids and assigns them some hideous skins. Now this one I actually really like, this is a good skin, you know, it's green. But a lot of the combos just don't work for me, and look how cute it is. I feel the need to emphasize that your gut reaction might be, ranking this 75th means she doesn't like it, but that's not the case. I just like 74 species even better. I do really like Crichtonsaurus. Morus intrepidus is a species that benefits from being the perfect substitute hatchling for species like T-Rex and Eutyrannus. I love adding that as a little storytelling to my parks. As a standalone species, maybe it would rank a little lower, but I have to factor into the ranking how much I think a species adds to a park, even as not the actual species. Like, I have to look at it beyond the vacuum of the species viewer. In here, it's not very spectacular, but in a habitat, scurrying through the foliage alongside a T-Rex, I think it really adds something. It's really good. You know, if it doesn't starve itself to death. Great skins, good dinosaur, nothing much to say about this. This is one of my overall favorite skins in the game, and I would love this kind of pattern with an entirely different head color and pronounced striping and banding on the body for a sauropod or a big theropod. It looks so good. But, you know, slap it onto a classic hadrosaur and I'm happy to. I think it looks really good. In my opinion, this is just a better version of the Plesiosaurus in the game. I like the streamlined ridges along the body, I like the base skins, even though the colors get kind of washed out in the lagoons. And this like yellow pattern that enhances those ridges, I think it looks pretty good. Number 69, the funny number. If you've made it this far, comment 69 below. Only us will know and everyone else will be like, what's going on? Also, hi everyone who came to this point in the ranking because they saw people comment 69. Anyway, Compy. A really unique species in the game due to its size, but it's also the size that makes it a little difficult to incorporate in your parks in a satisfying way. I do really like how it skips around. Like, look at this in real time. Just a merry little baby face eater. The Velociraptor is basically the in-game's beefed up Velociraptor, and I'm not mad at it, but it's not as good as the classic JP Clever Girl. Frontier went hard on the skins for this species. So good, I honestly can't really pick a favorite, but I went with this one this time around. As I've said before, we have several of these like super slender, small carnivorous species, but this one is excellent. It's just excellent. Again, if you put some really good skins on a good dinosaur, it's just good. No notes. Bioluminescence in the lagoons works so well. I think it's really beautiful, made all the better by the fact that Stegosaurus has 3 different bioluminescent options, but it has several great looking skins for daytime too. It's also just a really pretty and elegant looking marine reptile, and I like the little like flares of skin that they added to it. I think it looks so beautiful and elegant swimming through the lagoons. I really don't use Tapejara often enough. They are like little flying works of art. Pachyrhinosaurus is just a unique and cute looking ceratopsian that I regrettably have to admit that I overlook quite often, but I think it's very unique within the ceratopsian family. Skins could have been better. She looks a little dry. She could use a little moisturizer, but other than that, Yeah, I think it's a solid species. There's some missed opportunities here for the Barbaridactylus design, but it's still a really pretty addition to our aviaries. I will say currently I have it ranked higher than Topajara, but really ask me at a different time of day, and these two might get switched. It's really close. I think they're both just really pretty additions to an aviary. And yes, I did go for another green skin. I'm sorry. I'm really trying not to. I really love the wheezing sound effect of the Rherosaurus, even though I'm aware that that's a little weird to say, like listening to a heavy smoker and being like, well done ruining your voice. But anyway, it's just something that makes the Rherosaurus stand out. The patterns for Herrera aren't great, so I mostly prefer the blank skins, because honestly it's really difficult to find a combo of pattern and base skin that works well. This green example I think works quite well, but honestly, I could do this as well. You know, the species on its own, I think, is awesome enough to not need the pattern. I'll be honest, it's the Dinos rule in the original Jurassic Park that does bump it up in the ranking. In-game, it's a little too kangaroo for me, especially if you... there you go. It's honestly not that bad as what I remember from the first game, but, you know... it should be a little bit more horizontal all of the time. Anyway, another thing is that I don't think it opens up the frill often enough, given that that's like its special feature. But mostly I'm mad that we didn't get a big proper Dilophosaurus variant, and yet in spite of all that, I can't bring myself to rank it lower than this, like just sneaking into the top half of the ranking. Here, there you go, not a green skin. Monobarosaurus is such a pretty and underrated dinosaur in my opinion. One of the perfect species to have a big herd of in a park. I don't use it often enough, honestly. Shout out to this green skin though. Not much to say about Gallimimus. It's a good species to mix into a big herd of different species. It has decent skins. It's an OG movie dinosaur. It has the OG movie variant. It's just a solid species in the roster, although not, like, spectacular or anything like that. A sad, saggy ceratopsian, but I love it nonetheless. As goes for all ceratopsians, I really hope that for the next installment of the game, Frontier gives us proper standout frill colors. Just make the whole frill and the head a different color from the rest of the body. Because as it stands, Sinoceratops, as much as I enjoy it, it's one of those dinosaur species where I don't even bother picking a skin. Like, I'll just randomize it. Not because they're all good, that's not the case. They're kind of all bad, so it doesn't really matter which skin you get into your game. I really love Polacanthus. I think it has such a cute face. Pretty good skins for this group of dinosaurs in-game as well, and I don't know what else to say. I just like it. You either agree or you don't. Let me know if you agree. Ceratosaurus fell in ranking quite a bit, going from 26th out of 102 to now placing 57th out of 122. But it's firmly in the top half, which I think is good. I mean, obviously we're well beyond the point of the ranking where I love all of these species. It's just a difficult matter of figuring out which I love more. And the next one might be controversial to people that I love it more than Ceratosaurus, specifically my beloved Galaxy Ceratosaurus, but here we go. Brace yourself for controversy. I'm so cancelled. I am so cancelled. Tarbosaurus was met with a lot of backlash when it was revealed as part of the Cretaceous Predator pack because it stuck with the Camp Cretaceous design, which people did not appreciate, and there's no Frontier designed variants. I understand that people don't like it as a Tarbosaurus. I'm personally not upset by it, just like how I don't mind the Tadpole Deinonychus. Tarbosaurus, as it has come into the game in this form, has a cool roar. It has a super cute idle animation, which gives it a lot of personality in my mind. And it has amazing skins, of which I think this one is the most amazing. But honestly, it's like a superfluous amount of choice in good skins here. It's a big sauropod, which comes with big sauropod benefits and disadvantages. Benefits being that you know, it's spectacular and elegant, and the disadvantages, of course, being the lackluster skins, although this one really isn't that bad. Euoplocephalus is just a better Ankylosaurus in my opinion. I think we have a tendency to favor the dinosaurs with the most famous name, like Ankylosaurus, but Euoplocephalus looks better in-game. And I really don't know what it is with me and green skins, but come on, that's a good looking skin. Kentrosaurus is really helped by getting that Camp Cretaceous variant with the customizable skins. The base game Kentrosaurus would rank much lower if not for this second variant with skin options that I think looks stunning. Okay, I really like this skin, but I'm gonna show you a different one just for the heck of it. Nasutoceratops is both cute and intimidating. Don't ask me how she does it, but she does. She's amazing like that. I'm actually a little nostalgic about this dinosaur, and I can't fully guarantee that doesn't play into the ranking a little bit. But you know, this is a totally biased ranking anyway on the most random parameters, so whatever. But Nasutoceratops got added for free in the first game in a mini update in the early days of the channel, and I still remember making that video on this new dinosaur and having it blow my mind, and I still remember that fondly. This actually is the better skin. Okay. The skins for the Suchomimus could be better, and come on, you know me, I'm always going to be harping about the skins, but other than that, this is just an awesome species. Jailopterus, the butterfly bat. It's minuscule, which isn't without issues in the game, but it's so pretty, so cute, so colorful. The only functional insectivore in-game, and I could watch them snatch bugs out of the air all day. Love, 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 love this thing. Another new addition, one of the newest, is the Microceratus. Again, small dinosaurs do have to bring a lot to compensate for the fact that as park builders flying around like the gods that we are, we rarely see them, but Microceratus is the perfect pretend petting zoo animal, or just have it free roam in guest areas. The design isn't perfect. That's not Frontier's fault. That's just what they did in Dominion. But Frontier went in and was like, let me go hard with these skins. And we had to wait for a long time. They were cooking, but they served up something amazing. I've gone back and forth with this one quite a bit. On one hand, I want to rank it higher because I love Triceratops. It's my third favorite dinosaur IRL. By the way, my top 3 favorite dinosaurs of all time in real life are Stegosaurus, Brachiosaurus, and Triceratops in that order. Yes, all herbivores. Herbivores are cool. But on the other hand, oh my god, why did they not give the 1993 variant the skin customization in one of these last updates? Because the 1993 variant is literally the only one I want to use. We don't talk about the other one. We don't want to look at the other one. This one is great, and I just wish we had more skin variety for this version of the Triceratops. I've given the Kronosaurus the walking with dinosaurs like Pleurodon skin because obviously it's fun to use it as a stand-in for that, but I love how colorful the other options are. I love how happy he looks just to be involved. The shark feeding animation is really different from the animations that the other marine creatures have. And again, I've been saying that for some other species, it's the animations that to me project a kind of personality onto the animal that I either like or I don't, even if I don't see those animations all the time. And Kronosaurus with the face and the animation just comes across to me as a happy sea puppy, and I like that. Dreadnoughtus is here purely based on this Dominion variant. Just like with the Triceratops, we don't speak of the game variant. Now, we have a running gag on the channel that Dreadnoughtus, in contradiction to its name, looks absolutely traumatized, but in a way, that's kind of giving it a personality. The way some big dogs can be scaredy cats, or the way horses, these massive strong animals, can get spooked really easily. I must be frustrating you with these weird reasons behind my ranking, but all these dinosaurs are cool, right? So I gotta do something to figure out which I like more than the others, and a lot of that is just projection. But anyway, yeah, Dreadnoughtus, subverting expectations since the Cretaceous. Love that. More seriously, if I must, it has pretty good skins, some of them at least. The massive size makes it so impressive. Does there need to be more? I don't think so. Here we go, Styracosaurus in 43rd place is my favorite Ceratopsian. I think this dinosaur looks very regal with the horns along the frill, like a crown. It's a little weird that no Ceratopsian climbed higher than number 43, but again, just goes to show how many amazing other species we have. Last time, I did end up ranking the trike higher than Styracosaurus. Just pointing that out once again to be honest about how flexible my ranking is over such a long period of time. I'm not even gonna say anything. I am saying nothing. What I'm saying about the Allure Titan though, Allure Titan is so graceful, so pretty. The only negative is that not every single skin combo is a slam dunk, but that goes for any species, really. Stygimoloch is a super cute little dinosaur that, at the same time, looks like he'll headbutt you just because his arms aren't long enough to punch you. It's cute with an attitude, you know? Of course, current scientific understanding is that, just like Dracorex, Stygimoloch isn't its own species, but just a younger Pachycephalosaurus, but if it wasn't clear yet, scientific accuracy or relevance plays almost no role in my ranking. Science? We don't do that here. Werehosaurus ranked a bit higher last time, but that was because at the time, Werehosaurus was the stegosaurid with beautiful skins, whereas Stegosaurus had kinda underwhelming skins, so that allowed Wereho to climb up a bit. Now, of course, the Stego 1997 variant has been updated to have amazing skins, which makes the Wereho, in comparison, just a little less popular to me. Mimi is a fantastic little filler dinosaur, which sounds like an insult, but it's actually kind of like a secret superpower, because it means it's a really versatile dinosaur that you get a lot of use out of. I personally rarely make a park without Minmi. It's the perfect dinosaur for an enclosure made of the low multi-wall pieces to just fill in some leftover areas in your parks, or a leftover area. I think it's a really good dinosaur to just add for variety. A little lower than last time, but only because the recent DLCs added so many species that I adore. And most people will probably disagree to even have it this high, but look at that face! Come on, are there any other Chunkigo fans out there? Cause I love this little dinosaur. This is one of those dinosaurs that ranks high, not because I love it all that much in a vacuum, like in the species viewer, based on the model or based on the skins, but rather because I think it rounds out a park really nicely, just like Minmi. It's a great species for a smaller enclosure or a mixed herbivore habitat. It just adds a lot of variety to a park that we usually tend to stick full of big carnivores. Cryolophosaurus was a top 20 dinosaur, but the top 25 has been shaken up pretty radically, as you will soon see. It's still a fantastic dinosaur. I love how menacing it looks, like it looks a little evil, and I love that. And it has good skins. Again, it's really just knocked down a bit in ranking because of so many new species that I love. I initially had Diplodocus lower in the ranking. Let me explain. The process for making this ranking was first just to rank every species off the top of my head. Then I started over by first ranking all species within their group, so it was less comparing apples to oranges. So it started with comparing Dippy to other sauropods, for example, and then figuring out where it ranks overall. And then, after those two lists, I opened up the species viewer and went through the list again. And that's when I realized Dippy skins aren't that bad, and that helped bump it up a bit in the ranking. But I totally forgot that it has some decent skins, like, oh no, this green one. I like this green one. But yeah, I forgot that it has not awful skins. So if you did too, here's your reminder. Dippy skins don't totally suck. Hopefully the next version of the game will finally have accurate skin previews in the hatchery, so I won't forget that again. Oh, how we've made this dinosaur suffer every time a new carnivore gets added to the game. I love Homalocephaly though, and it's kind of comical the way it gets brutally murdered by almost everything. It's like Kenny from South Park. If you're still watching, type Kenny below, so I know you made it this far without skipping it to the top 10. You're a legend. But yeah, honestly, getting killed kind of gives it character in a way. I don't know. This is like the poor dinosaur that dies a lot. It's like the red shirt in Star Trek. I don't know, but for some reason, maybe it's just the sympathy vote that helps out. But even without that, obviously it's a really cute looking dinosaur, but I also like that, you know, it's a small dinosaur that looks like it has a little bit of attitude, it has a little bit of spunk. It's kind of like, yeah, come at me, bro. You know, and then he dies, but you know, he faced it with bravery. I love this thing so much, man. I can't look at it without smiling. Like, come on. It makes me happy. It's simple as that. It has great skin, so it's even easier to rank this silly little chicken as high as it is. Iguanodon is a badass, but oh my god, do I hate the Dominion variant. Do you know that scene in the animated Little Mermaid movie where Ursula shows the merman that she turned into these little critters, like these decrepit little things? That's what the other Iguanodon variant reminds me of. Like, the life force has been sucked out of this chad of a dinosaur to turn it into that other variant. Or like meth addict photos before and after. Anyway, this Iguanodon, this one right here, is based. Sinosauropteryx has usurped Homalocephali as the cutest little dinosaur in the game. One thing people like to ask me for Q&As and such is, which dinosaur would I want to have as a pet? And this is it. This one. I want this one. Or I would, hypothetically, if I didn't already have rabbits. I don't think that's going to be a good mix, but oh my god, I can so imagine this thing being part cat, part dog, having like the zoomies in your living room, and then putting a little harness on it and taking it for a walk. Yeah, super adorable. I like this little thing. What an awesome dinosaur. I really love the skins, obviously, and it has a lot of colorful skins, but for this pick of my favorites, I went with almost like this snow leopard kind of look, but it's not all about the skins. You know, the skins are important, but it's not all about the skins. I just really like the model as well. The curve to the top of the muzzle is something that I think looks so good. And random reference, but I live in a post House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 4 world. No spoilers, don't worry. But Mei-Lise is my favorite dragon design, and she also has that curved line to the top of the muzzle. Again, totally random, totally relevant, but that's what it's reminding me of right now. It's just a creature design that I'm really drawn to. It also has like this crazy murderous look in its eyes, and I appreciate that. Arguably, Amargasaurus is the most unique of the sauropods and a very interesting addition to any park. It's super cute, chunky, while also still being impressive and a little odd, which makes it interesting. Dimetrodon is unlike anything we have in the game, and it has great skins. I love having this creature walking through an enclosure with a lot of water and having just the sail visible above the surface. Also, you have to see it run. Like, look at... Come on! That makes me happy, and that's really all I need from my creatures in this game. Allosaurus is one of those super famous species that gets a little bit of bias in favor of it because of that, but it mostly lives up to the awesomeness of the actual dinosaur. I will say, though, I don't find the Jurassic World Allosaurus model or this Dominion one, both of them are really, really good, and I like them both, which isn't necessarily a guarantee for when a dinosaur species has two variant, but you know, I like them, but they're not as, let's say, inspired as they maybe could have been. Maybe that's the Walking with Dinosaurs fan in me talking. I really like that representation of the species. But as I said, I like both models. They both have good skin options, so you can make a different Allosaurus every time, so it doesn't feel repetitive in, like when you're building your 30th park or something. Why does it look like it's flying backwards? Not flying backwards, it looks like the animation is in reverse. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Anyway though, Pteranodon has been blessed by the Frontier Skin Gods during one of the last updates. Now that the 2001 model has customizable skins, and great ones at that, there's really nothing negative to say, except maybe that the Lost World skin would have been nice. I hate the Jurassic World version, I think it's hideous, so I'm very happy that we have the superior variant with superior colors as well. As is true for several species, like Ceratosaurus comes to mind, only the Rana pattern is actually any good in my opinion. Like if I cycle through the other ones, that doesn't really make me happy, but the Rana pattern is really good and it works with basically all of the base skins, so there's still some nice variety to be achieved with, like, you know, from one Carnotaurus to the next. A large theropod with bull horns is undeniably awesome, and I would assume I don't need to convince anyone that Carno deserves to be in the top 25. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Mosasaurus was 8th out of 102 last time, a top 10 creature that now barely qualifies as top 25. And even as I'm recording this, I'm like, maybe it should have even been lower. But I'm gonna keep it here because, you know, Mosasaurus is still cool. It does still have that wow factor. Mosasaurus is my favorite thing that the Jurassic World franchise introduced in terms of species to the franchise. But there's a lot of marine species in the top 25, honestly, and maybe they will drop in ranking a little bit over time, but the upcoming marine species will always outrank Mosasaurus from now on, and thus, you know, having it at 24 feels about right. Big fish, old fish, cool fish. I like the fish. The long-awaited Spinoraptor. I was so excited when this hybrid got added to the game. This is and has always been my favorite hybrid. Let me know in the comment down below what your favorite hybrid is. Personally, I just like the design of the Spinoraptor. I know it's a little formulaic with two species slapped together in a pretty literal sense, but at the same time it still feels like something that could have been real, and if it was, I think it would have been pretty cool. I honestly expected it to rank a little bit higher than this, but 23rd is what I settled on. My chunky boy! They could have done something slightly different with the head shape, I'll give you that. But at the same time, it looks oddly cute and dopey, a little tired, you know, tired of lugging this junk in the trunk around. And I find that endearing in my big theropods. Parasaurolophus is a classic, elegant hadrosaur. I kind of don't like their sound effects. It's like traumatized trumpeting, but that's the only negative. Or if I was really nitpicky, I'd point out that it is a missed opportunity that the Dominion variant didn't get customizable skins. That would have made this species even better. I really hope that for the next version of the game, Frontier gives the variants of all species customizable skins, as currently it's just a little weird that some were left out. Alamosaurus is my second favorite sauropod in the game. Of course, Brachiosaurus ranks higher, but Alamosaurus deserves to be in the top 20. Okay, I don't think everyone is gonna agree with me here, but let's be honest, the odds of anyone agreeing with this list overall are negligible anyway. But I like the Dominion Giga design. While I appreciate scientific accuracy when they do go for it, I can also appreciate the more old school, outdated dinosaur aesthetic. And I quite like, oh sorry, I hit the microphone. I quite like this half dragon, half giga. Especially obviously with the amazing skins that it has. I won't pretend that that doesn't play a huge role in it. As much as I love the excessively bright and colorful options that the Acrocanthosaurus has, which Giga does not, Giga has my favorite skins of all the large theropods. And just like Triceratops, just like Dreadnoughtus, we're not talking about the other variant. We're ignoring the other. We're shunning the other variant. I really dislike the Frontier skins, but the movie skins, especially the Tiger Raptors and the JP3 Raptors, are amazing. Velociraptor in this universe and thus in this game is a very inaccurate representation of the Velociraptor, but this was my favorite dinosaur from the original trilogy, regardless of inaccuracy, because it was so scary. I still sometimes have nightmares about Velociraptors. Here is the giant of the skies, the Quetzalcoatlus. Seeing this thing come out of the aviary for the first time was mind-boggling, and honestly it still is. The only negative to this species is how cramped it looks in the aviaries. It 100% should have had the ability to walk, and I really hope that's something Frontier takes to heart for the game's sequel. As it is, the species is much more suited for flying free in an open area, which doesn't make it easy to incorporate in many parks. For that reason, it is no longer my highest ranked flying reptile, which it was last time. Literally just one rank above it, the Thanatos Dragon, the wild card of the last DLC, soars through the ranking and lands on the number 16 spot. I think, judging by the comments that I've seen on my videos, this is a surprise hit for a lot of people, and it certainly is for me. I love the fluff, I love the colors, and while Quetzalcoatlus, as I said, has the sheer wow factor of its size, Thanatos Dragon is literally a better fit in our aviaries, and for that reason, I rank it slightly higher. Shonisaurus opens the top 15 as one of 8 new species in the top 15 compared to my previous ranking. Is there a bit of recency bias at play here? Probably, but at this point in time I can't rank these relative newbies any lower than I did. The Sea Blimp is such a magnificent addition to the lagoons. I was absolutely floored when seeing the skins for the first time, and for my favorite I picked, you know, a kind of mix between Killer Whale and a little bit of the color that the Shonisaurus has in spades, but if you've seen my showcase video, you remember my reaction to these skins because it was incredible. It has too many good skins to really pick a favorite. And, you know, size matters at several points during this ranking, but the bigger the better is definitely something that comes into play for the lagoons because it's such a vast volume and you want something that's going to stand out, that's going to be visible from a distance because, you know, you're reliant on the animals swimming close by whatever your viewing attraction is. So yeah, Shonisaurus is pretty much a perfect marine species. Now for this next placement, I'm gonna get some heat. Coming in at unlucky number 13 is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now in my previous ranking, the T-Rex was number 5, so just a top 5 dinosaur, and now it's number 13. And I think that drop is mostly to do with the fact that I've used it too often. I think I've literally used it in every single park because it is such a staple to the franchise. It's such a popular dinosaur that it always gets requested during live streams when we're building parks together. And it's like having your favorite song on repeats and then kinda, dare I say, growing bored with it. Bored might be too strong of a word because obviously, you know, it's a T-Rex, it's still awesome, but I think I've just seen too much of it at this point, and I've definitely heard too much from the T-Rex. That's something I've truly come to dislike about the T-Rex after having it in pretty much every single park, and that is how often it roars. Obviously, Frontier coded it that way on purpose, because it is such an iconic sound in the franchise. But it's comical, bordering on annoying, just how often it roars in the distance. And finally, on top of all of that, Frontier did not give the T-Rex great original skins, so it really just comes down to the movie skins that you use over and over. So you're not seeing a lot of variety in the T-Rex when you reuse it. Now, what I've been saying about the T-Rex is mostly negative, not because my feelings about the T-Rex are negative. I mean, it's still 13 out of 122, that's a really high ranking, but I more so feel like I have to explain why it's no longer a top 5, than explain to people why it's as high as 13. The Danger Duck at number 12. Something you'll see a lot in my ranking as we're nearing the top are feathered dinosaurs and kind of odd dinosaurs, and Dinosaurs is certainly both. Frontier did a great job with the design, gave it great skins, and it's an absolute beast. Archelon just misses out on the top 10, but it's a fantastic lagoon species. Very different from anything else, and while it shares the ability to climb the rock platform with the Nothosaurus, which I ranked much lower, the Archelon has more impact, being bigger and thus more visible. It has 2 social animations that I adore, which makes me like the species all the more. And of course, it has great skins, several combinations that I really like, but this one is just narrowly my favorite. Kicking off the top 10 is the Spinosaurus. Yes, ranked higher than the T-Rex. I don't know how people are gonna feel about that, but this is just my personal list. And I would love for you to share your top 10 in a comment down below. If you do that now, at the end then, we can see if we had some of our picks in common. Anyway, Spinosaurus, the shapeshifter of paleontology. Obviously, this interpretation is outdated, but I'm still attached to it. I've loved the Spinosaurus since I first saw it in JP3 as a little kid, and I still love it. Half of my top 10 are new species, starting with the Concavenator. For the longest time, this right here was my most wanted species to see added to the game, so I was thrilled when it was finally introduced in the Cretaceous Predator pack, and I couldn't be happier with how Frontier brought this dinosaur into our parks. Fantastic design, fantastic skins, and a funny social animation that gives it attitude. We had the duck, now here's the chicken, and you'll see how high up the turkey ended this time around. Gigantoraptor is both hilarious, I mean, look at that walk cycle. Like the Oviraptor, it just makes me chuckle every single time, but on top of being hilarious, it is also still intimidating, like terrifying. I knew from the moment I first saw it do that head stomp when I was recording my DLC showcase video that this would be a top 10 dinosaur, so here it is at number 8. Changiosaurus has had the silver medal taken away from it. It used to be my second favorite species and my favorite carnivore, but some DLC creatures and updates to existing species have knocked it down to 7th place. But of course that's still a really high ranking, as I still love this dragon-esque dinosaur. I'd never heard of Changiosaurus before the game, so that was nice too, to get introduced to a new species through the game. Just missing out on the top 5 is the Megalodon, but make no mistake, I love the big shark. I don't think anyone is surprised. If you've seen my showcase video for this DLC and some subsequent builds I've done for the Megalodon, absolutely gushing about it every single time, you know that I think it's awesome. A lot of people dislike it, or maybe not dislike it, but don't appreciate it as much because at the end of the day, it is quote-unquote just a shark. It's not like Mosasaurus, which doesn't really have something similar in the modern animal kingdom. But I actually think I like the familiarity of the shark. I find sharks fascinating and terrifying, and if you dial that up to 10 by making it this monstrous size and then slap the most incredible skins on it, you unlock something primal in my brain that makes me just want to watch it swim around and jump up to eat sharks. So with Megalodon at number 6, we are heading into the top 5. Just a reminder, last time my top 5 looked like this. Let's see what has changed. First up, number 5, the Yutyrannus. Gorgeous species, love the fully feathered coat with the fanned tail on a bigger theropod. It's really fun to combine with Morus Intrepidus as its infants, And that kill animation where it slips and slides across the ground but still gets its praise, one of my favorites across all carnivores, exactly for how imperfect it is. Brachiosaurus has been knocked out of the top 3, but it was a very close call. Brachiosaurus is one of those species that I'll never tire of seeing. Every time it still evokes that same wonder as it did seeing it in the original Jurassic Park movie for the first time. The call of the Brachiosaurus, unlike the incessant roaring of the T-Rex, adds a peaceful atmosphere to a park that I just want to hear non-stop. Now, Frontier made the Brachiosaurus even better, like way better, in one of the last updates by giving the 2001 model some of the best skins they have ever made, especially for sauropods, and I want all sauropods to get this kind of treatment in the next game. The only downside that I can think of is that my favorite variant in terms of body shape is the 1993 one. So the fact that the 2001 variant is the one that comes with the awesome skins is just a slight nitpicky disadvantage. Now it comes to the final 3. The newly added Utahraptor, the improved Stegosaurus, and the previous title holder, Therizinosaurus. In third place, I put the Therizinosaurus. The turkey has been dethroned. Don't get me wrong, I still love this species, but when it came to deciding if it should win or lose against Utahraptor and Stegosaurus, one thing was the deciding factor, and that is that as much as I love the Therizinosaurus, it's not perfect. For starters, the skins, like the customizable Frontier skins, aren't amazing, especially for feathered species. Frontier has hit it out of the park with basically every other feathered species except for the Therizinosaurus, so I usually just go for the Dominion skin as I like this one the best. And secondly, I do miss a fluffy tail. Like, imagine the Theri with a tail like Dinosaur, or at least like Utaranus. That, in combination with better skin options, would have taken this dinosaur to perfection, and currently it just falls ever so slightly short. So, almost like on a technicality, that's what it feels like. It ends up in third place after placing first last time. That just leaves Stegosaurus versus Utahraptor, and in second place is the Stegosaurus. I've always adored this dinosaur. It is my favorite dinosaur IRL, and the one thing holding it back in-game were the mediocre skins. But since the 1997 model was updated with customizable skins, and like just beautiful, mind-blowing, some of the best skins Frontier has ever done, overall, this dinosaur now ticks all the boxes for me. It's perfect, and that's why it beats Therizinosaurus, and that's why it also beats its ranking from last time. However, it falls ever so slightly short of my number 1 pick. Number 1 is the Utahraptor, one of the new additions to the game since my previous ranking, and it is the new king. I can't find any fault with this species. I think Frontier brought it to life beautifully. The model, the skins, the animations, the sound effects. Not everyone is a fan of the reused raptor Bork, but I actually really like it. I honestly never expected them to add this dinosaur to protect the reputation or the standing of the franchise's Velociraptor, so this was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Just an incredible dinosaur. Love this one. Now, I stream Jurassic World Evolution 2 every Saturday. We are currently building an all-species park, so subscribe to see that build and many others, including species-specific exhibit builds, like the recent one I did for the Utahraptor and one for the Megalodon that I think you will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, leave your own ranking in the comment down below.